Okay.
Hey guys, J-Man here with Steve. So we're trying something a little new on my channel here. We're going to be talking about Incredible Hulk, which is one of our favorite characters that Steve and I share. I think Sean likes Hulk as well, and I think it is maybe, I don't know if it's one of his favorites. We've never discussed it. But Steven used to do Incredible Hulk reviews along with Spider-Man. He would do reviews for my community on Google Plus before that got taken down. And, you know, I came to find out that like Steve had been literally reading from Hulk 1 and reading through and doing reviews, and he continued on doing it. And it's something that I always wanted to do and never did. So that's sort of my goal here. It's selfish. I want to have a reason for reading all the comics. And Steve has provided me that reason. Now, I actually don't have, I had a disc, this is before digital comics, where it gave you every Incredible Hulk issue. It was like 500 issues or something. I think I still have that CD somewhere. So this is before digital, and it was licensed. This wasn't pirated. This was officially licensed from Marvel Comics. All the Hulk issues, and I also had Spider-Man, and I think I had Iron Man as well. Now, I read all the Tales to Astonish Incredible Hulk stuff, where Hulk was paired up with other characters in that series, and then really the big ones were when Namor had half the book and Hulk had the other book. After that ended, Hulk continued the numbering, and Submariner got his own series. So the Hulk numbering is a little bit wonky. I also collected Immortal Hulk, which I just recently started to collect again. I'm only missing maybe 5 or 6 issues of Immortal Hulk, and they're all after issue 15 or 16, but I have like 1 to 16. Alex Ross covers, perfect. I love Hulk. I loved him from the beginning, from when I first saw him. And we're not gonna review anything in this thing. We're just gonna talk about why we like Hulk. And Steve, I'll let you start since I kind of talked. So what got you into Incredible Hulk? Why is he still one of your favorites? You know, has your perception changed from childhood to reading the comics now? Because I know there's the TV series and the films and all that, and then there's the cartoons. But now, because you're reading from the beginning, the Stan and Jack kind of right there from have you hit Peter David yet or no, right? No.
No, not yet. I'm about 20 issues out. Yeah.
I think you're very close to Peter David's epic 10 years. Okay, so let's hear from you.
Okay, so like what really got me into it, obviously I was a kid when I started reading Hulk, right? Like I would pick up comics. And I think the thing is that I think you and I talked about this before, is when you're a kid, you are drawn in by the covers, right? And Hulk definitely had interesting covers. He was usually fighting someone, and he was green, right? He was very different. He didn't look human, right? So I think I was just drawn to that coloring, and the fact he was always fighting someone, and he was a big muscular guy. Because you have to think, like, the appeal of the Hulk is really like when you're a kid, and especially like most kids are bullied, right? Very few aren't. Hulk is like the best escapism for a bullied kid. Because here's a guy who's a scrawny little guy, and when he gets pushed too much, he becomes a great big guy who can literally pick up a mountain and hit someone with it. Like, there's nothing more satisfying than that. So I think it was a visual thing, but I stuck around because of like, and this is kind of like maybe not talking so well about the story, because what you end up doing when you get into it, Brad, is you wait around for him to become the Hulk. Right? And that was the problem with the TV series. You're just waiting around for him to become the Hulk. So I now, as an adult, appreciate the stories a bit more. But like as a kid, that's what drew me into it.
Yeah, I've got something here now. This isn't my childhood one. I'm going to show this. This is
nice.
Yeah, I've got this in the packaging unpunched. So this guy here I had as a child. Yeah. I actually traded him. I had him and the Superpowers Green Lantern, and I traded them for Stratos. He-Man, because He-Man was like my big thing, and I was missing Stratos. And actually, after I traded it to this guy, Stratos broke, and you know what? And I was so disappointed that I lost my Hulk. And then about 10 or 15 years ago now, my cousin, who runs the escape room with me, he actually found, like, I guess his childhood Hulk or something, and gave it to me out of nowhere. He didn't know my relationship with that figure or whatever. And he gave it to me. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is the Hulk I had as a kid that I lost.
Yeah.
And it returned back to me. Now I've got this one, which I would never open from the packaging. But the figure and the TV series were probably my first things. Now, as you said, we waited around for Lou Ferrigno to appear.
Yeah.
No CGI, just a big, strong, muscular guy. And Lou Ferrigno is a huge muscle man. If you watch Pumping Iron and all that, he's enormous. He's larger than Schwarzenegger. And when I was a kid, that's what I waited around for. And when he turned into the Hulk, it was the best. And everybody was picked on a little bit. I was picked on a little bit as well as a kid. And I did like the idea of a scrawny guy becoming a big, huge muscle guy. Green is my favorite color.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, though, I have Gray Hulk tattooed, which we will get to down the line, not today. But although he was gray in issue 1. But Hulk, look, comics are visual.
Yeah.
This is going to be a side note. I'm getting a little bit, piffed at this elitism that people think exists. It's like, oh, well, the stories and all. And they always talk about, why is Spider-Man such a draw? Why is Batman such a draw? And why is Superman? It's like, well, Batman is a man. He struggles to fight the good fight, and he uses his human abilities and his mind. And I'm like, huh? Batman looked cool. Like,
yeah.
I what are you talking about? Like, Hulk, green is my favorite color. Big green monster beating the crap out of people. I'm like, this is a win. Like, I mean, and there, the TV series, there's drama. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I want to see Lou Ferrigno beat the crap out of assholes. And that's what I tuned in for. Now, growing up and now to where I am now in my, over 40 days, going back, watching the television series, there was a lot of drama. And Bill Bixby didn't know that he was in a Marvel Entertainment. Like he thought that he's like, this is like an acting job. I'm going to do my very best. I mean, I feel bad for him. It more, I mean, there's been a lot of actors, a few now, who have played Bruce Banner. And his name was David Banner which is always weird. But and I don't think anyone's better than Bill Bixby. I would almost have Bill Bixby turn into the CGI Hulk that we have now to get the best of both worlds. I do like all of the actors that played it. Maybe we'll do an episode discussing the various actors. But that show for me as a kid was, I'm waiting for Hulk to show up, and he only shows up for like 5 or 10 minutes total of the entire episode, but it was cool enough to wait for. Hulk, the comics, same reason as you. The covers were dynamic. Hulk is like fighting a big guy or whatever. And going back, and I reread issue 1 to start to get into the mindset. And I mean, issue 1 is incredible in my opinion. Actually, it's fantastic, and the drama of it, and just the story, which we will review. But Hulk is actually a genius invention. I know it's a Jekyll and Hyde-ish kind of a thing. He turned at night in the beginning, but this idea of the anger is really cool. And he's the most unique superhero because, Superman is always the same. Like, he's aware of his persona, and Peter Parker is aware that when he puts the mask on, he is Spider-Man. But what if you're not aware of what happens? They tried this with Ms. Marvel, oddly enough, with Carol, where she had like this weird split personality. She didn't even know that she was Ms. Marvel. But Hulk, it's like he kind of is aware. Like, he knows he becomes the Hulk and he's uncontrollable, and Hulk is kind of aware that he turns back to Banner, and they don't really like each other. And I think that's great. That's the Jekyll and Hyde side. But having him fight monsters is brilliant. It's a brilliant idea for comics. It's very dynamic, and it leads to great battles, and it leads to great drama because you do feel bad. I never felt, I know Spider-Man, you feel bad for him, and I know you're a Spider-Man guy, and so am I. Both of Spider-Man, top 10 characters of all time. Same with you, I'm sure. And the reason we're not going to do Spider-Man is because I think Hulk is more unique. And there's probably not as much out there with Hulk right now, because the perception now is that, oh, he's a side character in the Avengers movies. And I think that's a fault. Feige and of the MCU and of Disney.
Yeah.
I think it's a major fault that they're not trying to push the Incredible Hulk, because the Hulk and Spider-Man were Marvel to me. Like, there was Super Friends. Basically, if you were a Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, like, I didn't give a crap. It's like Spider-Man, Hulk. To me, it was like Spider-Man, Hulk, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
That should be a team. And you're like,
Yeah.
this is the greatest team there was. Like, this business of like Hawkeye, who I love, Daredevil, in my top 5 characters.
Yeah.
This kind of thing, you know, that came later on when I started to be more mindful of stories and think it's like, as a kid, Spider-Man, because there was a cartoon, several cartoons, live action TV series as well, which I do like. Hulk, several cartoons, love the 80s cartoon Hulk. It's the only thing I've purchased on iTunes, which is the Incredible Hulk. I bought it when it came out available on iTunes. The comics, even more so than Spider-Man, Hulk comics, if you look at what I had the most of, was probably Hulk, just because, as you said, covers, action, fighting, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Now, has anything changed? Like, okay, so have you appreciated it more, or do you think the stories weren't as good, maybe, or?
So the stories really became cyclical for a long time, where it was basically like the writers were basically, I felt like they were like, I don't know what to do with this character, which is incredible when you think about it. Like, with what you've been saying, I totally agree. Like, you have all this stuff you can play with, but they really got into the whole, someone will mind control Hulk, and then that's an issue, right? And then someone will be like, it took a while for them to really get into the, we can have fun with this character and we can sort of explore him a bit. Where I am now is the Crossroads stuff, which is like Bruce Banner's completely gone, and it's just the animalistic Hulk, and sort of exploring that, which is, it took them a while. Like that's in around 85. That's in 85 when they started doing that, which was more so like what when they start to really explore it, and you had the Professor Hulk and all that stuff. But the stories, I think we had this conversation, the stories were not deep for like the longest time. It was very very much just like, okay, Hulk will fight this guy. Okay, cool, what's the story? Oh, he'll fight this guy, right? Like, it wasn't really like, it was almost like they're just thinking, I don't have to write a story, Hulk writes his own story. The good news I will say, though, is that Hulk had the most unique places to visit. Like, why he's great is you don't have to keep him on Earth. In fact, he probably shouldn't be on Earth too long. He's got to go and explore different galaxies and realms and stuff. You don't really get that with like the Avengers. You get that with Fantastic Four, right? They're always in like pocket universes and the negative zone and all that. Like, but like, Hulk can go to, like, when he goes and meets Jarella, he's in that weird area where it's like between atoms. Like, it exists a place between atoms and a teardrop or something, or raindrop. And it's like, just like the crazy things you can do with him. The Shaper of All Worlds, he came in because of Hulk. That's a great character, and we'll talk about more like when we get to it.
That's one that you pointed out early on.
Yeah, like he's got so many interesting things you can do with it. It took them a while to get going, but when they get going, it's like one thing after another after another. Like, they really started to mine into the great things they can do with Hulk.
I think, Hulk seems to go up and down, because once Peter David comes in, we go down a little bit with the Gray Hulk stuff, and it becomes more, reality-based, grounded, and he's dealing with a lot of stuff. But I mean, they deal with spousal abuse in one episode.
Yes.
And in one, so a lot of things. Hulk's very versatile, and he does write himself if you just want to have him fight random guys. But also to point out, and I'm sure Spider-Man is like this as well. All of the Marvel stuff did feel like villain of the week.
Yeah.
Even Daredevil, because I've been reading Daredevil from the first one on. I want to say this to if there's anybody who's interested or whatever, go out there and start from the first issue. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, this got me thinking, because like, Steve, when you're done this run, you are going to be the go-to guy. You're going to be the Wikipedia of Hulk. And I think it's just so cool that we have these comics available for us to do that. And I don't think people are doing it enough. No. Because Immortal Hulk is sick. I'm still about 15 behind or something. But I mean, you don't get to all that without bringing Hulk into this. I know it's villain of the week, monster of the week, but that's what got kids interested. You're like, who's he going to face next? And once you get the freedom of saying, okay, you know what? Hulk can go anywhere. Like Spider-Man can't really go into space because how is he going to breathe? He can't go to another dimension. It's weird. It's like Hulk's like, well, we can kind of take him anywhere, which is why obviously the best Hulk of the recent ones was him in Thor Ragnarok, which is basically Planet Hulk. A little bit of a Planet Hulk reference in that movie. That's a great series. And yeah, I mean, Hulk can do so many things. Hulk is like Superman in the sense that both characters can do anywhere. They're super strong. They always say, well, Hulk is too strong, it's boring. Or Superman is too strong, it's boring. Hulk is a challenge to the writers out there to say, guys, what can you bring? He's the one guy where you can bring what you want of yourself as a writer. You can't have Spider-Man go crazy and start killing somebody because you're like, well, Spider-Man shouldn't kill anybody. Like, there's too many restrictions with some of these characters. Hulk has no restrictions. You want to put him in space? Put him in space. You want to, he could fight anything. He could fight a technology character, right? Yeah. Right? Like, let's see, like, Iron Man couldn't really fight anybody greater than he could ever be. Like, he fights equals, or he fights guys with armor and stuff. But Hulk can fight anything. He can fight an armored guy. He can fight a guy who's really weak, but maybe he's really smart. And he creates something to screw with Hulk, right? Or magic based. He can fight magic based guys, as you know, someone mind controls them or whatever. And I don't feel that that's happening in the MCU or any of the movies, really. Like, the potential's there.
Well, I got something to say. Like, Disney owns Marvel now. And what people don't realize about Hulk and why they sort of have diminished him a bit, in my opinion, is Hulk's not a nice character. Captain America is the blonde-haired, blue-eyed soldier, right? I think you've said this multiple times. His costume is the flag, right? Like, it doesn't get more, like, heroic than that. Iron Man is basically the Batman of Marvel, right? Very rich guy. He's got this alter ego. He's a little bit more, they made him more comical in that. Like, if you go back to old Iron Man, he wasn't like that. He was more like cut and dried. Yeah. But now they made him, I think, a little bit more like Robert Downey Jr., which it is what it is. Thor is mythological, but he's still like, he's the god of thunder. He's not going to turn weird. Avengers number 2, I think it was they fought Hulk. Yeah. Right? Hulk is not really your typical hero. He's not a nice guy. He hates humanity. He's got a good reason for it, but he hates humanity. Right? Like, if you look at the series, like, they had to pardon Hulk like multiple times, I think, because of all the stuff he did. Disney's not going to throw their might behind a character who could end up fighting the team he's supposedly on at any moment, right? Yeah. It's just not happening.
And I think that's why I like him. See, I like Namor as well. Sort of Namor, even as a kid, you related to Hulk because you feel that people don't understand me. They don't understand me as a kid, and they don't understand the Hulk. And he is good. Sometimes he gets angry and throws a tantrum, but he's not going to really kill you or whatever. But the threat has to be there. And I think Disney is scared. Like, and say what you want. Like, this is on topic but off topic. I know that they've got their agendas of like, well, we have to have diversity and all that. But I'll tell you right now, like, we need to have a female-driven thing, and it's like Black Widow. Well, Scarlett Johansson's quite attractive, right? Chris Hemsworth, very attractive, right? Yeah. Obviously, Chris Evans very attractive. It's like, pick any, Scarlet Witch, right? It's like Hulk is not attractive. So you have to get behind the story of what's going on. There's not going to be, and I don't know if this is a thing or not, but it seems like it's almost, I don't know if it's uniquely male because of Hulk. I don't know. I don't have any evidence to back this up. I don't know if there's a lot of females. Actually, if you're watching this and you're female, let me know in the comments if you're a Hulk fan and why you're a fan, because it always seemed like more like of a male thing, like, I'm going to be a strong guy. Now, obviously, that it was written in an older time, and now we've got She-Hulk, who, we had She-Hulk before too, but she's great too. Yeah. But she never got, I don't think she ever got to the status of like the girls loving her. Like, boys who love Hulk, their love of Hulk is greater than girls who love She-Hulk, I think. Yeah,
definitely.
And
I think.
And the thing, I mean, again, we don't have evidence, but we're just saying.
Yeah, yeah,
And like Hulk, yeah, he's such a unique character, and they don't, except for now. Well, Immortal Hulk is great, and yeah, they've got to do something more with this guy, and he's not
yeah,
easily marketable. You need to have a brain. You can't just pump out, you know, oh, Avengers are fighting Ultron, have a few heroic things, and then it's a movie. I'm not. This is not a diss on any MCU movie because for
no,
the most part I like them all,
yeah,
but it's hard. It's
hmm,
hard to do a Hulk movie,
yeah,
and we will discuss the movies in later episodes. It's hard. So I think right now they're just shying away from. I know there's some legal issues with Hulk as well, which I don't know, like if they could use them in a solo movie
yeah,
or not, or what's going on. Also, bring the purple pants back because I do like that. But
yeah,
the Hulk cartoon was great. It's just that he has so many things that he could do that's so cool, and putting him anywhere makes him like a really interesting character. But just like Superman, the writers are very important. It's not
yes,
easy. It's very easy to make a generic Hulk story,
yeah,
and it will probably sell okay.
yeah,
It's very difficult to do an excellent Hulk story. And if you get one, it's like Superman. I've read every Superman comic easily since New 52, but even prior to that, I was reading a lot.
yeah,
Action, Superman, everything, Man of Steel, whatever the ones they were called. And it was up and down. And the great Superman stories are the greatest ever.
yes,
But then you just got run-of-the-mill Superman. He fights somebody, and then you're done. And even those are still enjoyable on a level of my childhood, which I like Superman. So Hulk, a generic run-of-the-mill Hulk story is cool because Hulk is still fighting a guy, and I'm
yeah,
gonna get some enjoyment deep down. I still got
yeah,
that kid inside me who wants to see Hulk. But when you get a great one,
oh yeah,
they're really great.
yeah,
And that's the thing. And I think if you did that for the movies, like I thought Hulk was a great character in Ragnarok. I mean, he
yeah,
almost stole the entire movie.
yeah,
Like, because he's like, oh, you know, you left me and you don't care about me and all that. And I just thought that entire angle was good. I'm thinking, wow, like we need a Hulk movie. And it's funny because I talked to a lot of people like, yeah, Hulk is so cool in that. And I'm like, yeah, well, he is cool.
yeah,
So, you know, we'll see how this goes. I mean, I don't want to get into any reviewing right
no,
now. We'll probably start with just issue 1, or maybe we'll do the first 6,
yeah, that
I
makes
guess,
sense.
because that's kind of like the first.
Yeah,
But what else is there to say? I mean, I've got a lot of Hulk toys. He's a great toy to have. My favorite toy was a neighbor of mine. He had the Mego, the big one, the 12-inch. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. I loved it. And then I just kept playing with it all the time. And then and then he lent it to me, so then he took it back, and I was so sad. I never was able to find it again. But I definitely have lots of Hulk stuff. I have so
yeah,
much stuff I have to put stuff away because it was just getting crazy how much I had. I could do an entire Hulk shelf, just with all the figures and the statues, and also just like the television series and the cartoons. They've never released the '80s cartoon
no,
in any form. They only have it as a download from iTunes, which I did download and watch. And it's got the thing where he transforms into the Hulk, and then when he transforms to Banner, his clothes come back, which is
oh
weird.
yeah, yeah,
But I saw the memo on that one where they actually say there's a great website that has this, and it says we will just ignore the fact that his clothes come back. You're like,
come back on.
oh.
Well, it was always good to see Banner the day after, like when he
Yeah,
changes back, because there's always that whole like he look around like where's I remember he'd always say like where's the Hulk taking me now,
right,
right? Like
right.
he's always ending up in this place. And you know, we talk about the Hulk. It also there's some really interesting supporting characters like Doc Samson,
Yeah.
really good supporting
Oh,
character.
he's awesome.
Yeah, he's really cool. Betty has her ups and downs, right?
She's great in
Like
the first issues.
yes, yes. She definitely goes downhill a while.
Yeah,
Rick, who became like a mainstay,
yeah.
like Rick Jones.
Rick
He's like
Jones.
Captain America. He was his sidekick.
Yeah,
He was with Captain Marvel for a while. You know, with the thing where they would switch places. That was awesome. I mean, that's something totally different.
yeah.
And the villains, like the one thing was shocking to me, I think, when I first started reading comics was when I think of Hulk, I'm like Absorbing Man, Leader, Abomination. Not in that order. Like Leader's probably number one, right?
Yeah, Leader's one. Yeah.
They don't show up a lot. Like there's long periods where they don't appear, right? And he's fighting random people. Like he fights the Executioner, who is a Thor villain. He fights him in one shot, right? And he'll fight like really weird characters, like what do you call it, Zax, Dubai Beast, the one with the two heads. Like he fights some really like weird characters. But I was like, when you think of like Batman, Spider-Man, you have this whole rogues gallery, and everyone's like, oh yeah, the rogues are arguably as popular as the main character, right?
Yeah.
But Hulk doesn't have that, right? Hulk has never had that because it doesn't make sense to give Hulk a rogues gallery, in my opinion, because he can beat up anyone. The most interesting villain he probably fights is the Leader, because the Leader is basically the Hulk mentally.
Yes.
And that leads to like, how does this great intellect beat this great brawn, right? So that's cool. But that was really shocking to me. I think when we're talking about like what surprised me is the classic Hulk adversaries don't always appear. And even Doc Samson, I haven't seen him in the longest time. Betty, I haven't seen in quite a while. Rick Jones, I haven't seen in quite a while. The thing is that the Hulk, because he roams all over the place, he goes long periods without seeing people you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Would you count General Ross as a villain to the Hulk? I suppose.
That's a great question. He's an antagonist, but I wouldn't call him a villain, because he's almost like the less annoying version of J. Jonah Jameson.
Jameson, until Spectacular Spider-Man with Chip Zdarsky, I couldn't stand Jameson. He's great in the movies because he's a funny character.
Yeah.
He's great in the cartoon because he's all whatever. But he never really did any damage in those things. But Jameson's a douchebag in like the comics and it's like, guy, man, like get over it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's end off on this, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Okay, right now, you can do whatever you want. Hulk, and live action. Do you do a live action television series? Do you do like a trilogy of movies? Do you do ongoing movies? Do you use Professor? Do you use Gray Hulk? Do you use Green Hulk? Savage, whatever, classic? Do you use Mark Ruffalo? Should it be a television series? Should it be a Netflix thing? Like, you can do whatever you want to see happen. You can do it. What do you think?
Man, that's a great question. I think me personally, I'd love to do the movies.
Yeah.
If I had to do a series, it'd be Netflix for sure. I don't want him on cable. I want him on somewhere where you can go that extra like mile and that extra period of time. But I want to do the movies, man. I want Hulk in all iterations. I want Professor Hulk. I want Gray Hulk. I want Savage Hulk. I want maybe Hulk without Banner, right, for half a movie. I want like Order separated. There was that storyline where they separated the Banner from Hulk. I would do it all because you have to hit all the main points with Hulk. He's had so many great periods of time. I'll tell you, the real thing would be doing Secret Wars. I mean, if they could do that, that would be amazing. They'll never do that.
Yeah,
I know.
In my example, you only have Hulk and whatever villains you want to pit against them.
Yeah.
So, would you do Ruffalo, or would you just recast? Or
Ruffalo's like now in his late 40s, believe it or not. I would recast, but I wouldn't go back to Edward Norton recast. I would pick a guy who is a really good Bruce Banner, right? But I wouldn't what I would do that they haven't done yet is have more Hulk and have less Banner. We know who Banner is. We're not paying to see Banner. We're paying to see Hulk.
Yeah, I think it would be great. If they're going to do movies, they would have to do like a couple of movies with him being the normal, regular Hulk from the beginning. Then you'd have to do maybe a couple of movies where he's Gray Hulk.
Yeah.
I think that'd be very interesting. And then maybe do a couple of movies where they all merge and he's smart, right? Like Professor or whatever. And then and then maybe do something like that. I would almost think that a TV series, but not with full episodes, maybe like, maybe season 1 is 6 episodes, season 2 is 6 episodes, and then season 3 at the end he becomes Grey Hulk.
Yeah.
And then season 4 he's Grey Hulk, season 5 he's Grey Hulk, and then season 6 he merged, all the Hulks merge or whatever, like that cover, all Hulks merge or whatever. And it's like, maybe do that and have it be like, like some epic, because I mean Hulk was on TV for a lot of seasons. Is there 5 or more than that?
It's 5 seasons, and then the TV movies.
TV movies with Thor, Daredevil, and then the Death of
Hulk.
It's Return, Trial, Death. I think that's the order. And I mean, like, he's got TV potential. Movies you can do, but like, I don't know if you can get the drama of it, where I think a TV show, like, because you could still do your episode where it's Banner doing stuff, and then Hulk fights, and then I would want to see more of Hulk doing things, and I want Hulk to be a character. And they got to that a little bit, but not far enough. And he's just lost, like in the Infinity War and Endgame.
He's a supporting character.
He's just lost. I don't even, he's just not even, may as well not even be there.
Well, I think it would be great, like, by your idea, if we do Savage Hulk, like movies 5 and 6, he'd be Grey Hulk. But the storyline is that, am I continuing to mutate? Because what the storyline is that we don't really know what the gamma rays have done to him long term. Right. We know he turns into the Hulk, but I think it'd be interesting if he became Grey Hulk. It's like, oh my God, am I mutating further? And then he sort of almost becomes like the guy, like Banner becomes a guy who will go to any lengths to find a cure, even if it's illegal. And then you have Thunderbolt Ross saying, oh my God, like, I told you all that he was, because you need Thunderbolt Ross to start out being the guy who told you so, but he's wrong. And then it's like, I told you all, what a menace he was. And then that's when you get the Hulkbusters in, right? That Hulkbuster base. And I think you need Glenn Talbot there too.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Very important throughout the earlier movie. And he's one of those few characters who has more or less remained dead. Like, you don't see that in comics anymore.
Yeah,
He's dead.
He wasn't in the second movie, was he?
No.
But he didn't die in the first movie, did he? Or did he die?
No, he didn't. They just wiped that first movie.
Yeah, that was weird. We'll discuss that another time. Yeah, that was weird. I just actually picked up Incredible Hulk on 4K only because I didn't have it on Blu-ray. So instead of buying Blu-ray, because Hulk I had on Blu-ray, so I just bought the 4K because it's literally the same price or cheaper than the Blu-ray for what
I know.
Anyway.
I know.
I'm going to rewatch that one because I was a little bit harsh on it, but I've warmed up more to the idea of it. I just have to rewatch it again to see what my thoughts are. And Hulk fights an abomination of abomination. Is that?
Yeah. I've seen that movie like a bunch of times. It's what I say is it's watchable.
Right. Well, I don't want to. Let's save it.
Okay.
Let's save it. We're gonna break all those down big time. We're gonna do one episode per thing. Okay, I think we'll wrap it up there. I don't know what we're gonna do next. We're gonna keep this very loose because I still want to have fun. I don't want this to be agenda driven. Like, we have to discuss this, and it's like fun. It's Hulk. We like it. Like when I do my weekly X-Men talk, I'm very serious. Like, okay, this is what's happened. This is my fun idea that I want to share with you, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna have fun with this series.
Yeah.
And talk about Hulk and get angry at stuff that pisses us off, and then go back to Banner and be all smart.
Yeah.
No, that was a great storyline with great character development. So anyway, all right, guys. Thanks for listening to us blab on about Incredible Hulk. If you like Incredible Hulk, let us know in the comments. Let me know why you like him. Do you like Grey Hulk, Green Hulk, Professor? What other versions? Maestro is, I don't like any. Red Hulk,
Gladiator Hulk,
Gray She-Hulk. What's the blue guy called? There's a blue guy. Rick Jones becomes a guy or something.
A-Bomb is Rick Jones.
Right. Like, oh my God, there's just so many of these. I'm the Hulk now. Like, but anyways, all right, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.